Alright guys, so I've made several videos in the past talking about some of the best Android apps, but it might be hard to keep track of all of them. So in this video, we're going to just go over and compile what I think are the best, most essential apps that everyone should really have on their Android phone. So we're going to have 7 of these, and hopefully these are useful. If you didn't know about these before, well, now you do. Starting off with number 1, this app is going to help with so much of the spam that we get these days. I don't know about you, but it seems like spam phone calls and scams are at an all-time high. So an app like Mr. Number will block most of those spam calls. They have a list of like hundreds of thousands of numbers that are added, and it will just automatically either warn you or block those calls automatically depending on what settings you have. So you can have it separate for spam or scam and fraud, or you can even block just any private numbers completely. You can also have it even so it's like a whitelist, so only your contacts can call you, all sorts of stuff. And I know that having enabled this, that I've gotten like almost no spam calls at all, so it seems to be working pretty well. And you can also look at unknown calls in the call history and search for them, and it'll tell you if there's any reports by other users. So if you're like, oh, I wonder who that was, you see the number, and then other people are saying, oh, it's a scam, it's this and that. You're like, oh, okay, obviously I shouldn't have answered that. So definitely one of the most useful ones, and I think everyone at this point needs some sort of spam and scam blocking call app. All right, next up, number 2. I've been talking about this one for years, and it is Google Opinion Rewards. And basically, it's an app by Google where you answer little short, very short surveys, and they give you some Google Play Store credit. So this could be anything from, I don't know, 10 cents to like 50 cents every once in a while. And they're very short surveys. They don't take more than like a minute. And sometimes it can add up. And maybe after a couple weeks or so, if you get a lot of these, then you could get like a free app or something. And you can also use this on like app subscriptions. And how many surveys you get, I think, depend on your demographics that you input and also how quickly you answer surveys. So if you immediately respond to all the surveys very quickly, then you'll get more. And they do actually test you to make sure that you're like paying attention. So sometimes they'll ask you nonsensical questions, and if you clearly lie about it, then you won't get any more surveys ever again. So keep that in mind. You got to be truthful. Okay, this next one is very useful for some people at least. It's a technical one called Wi-Fi Analyzer, and this is a really good app if you ever start having Wi-Fi trouble, which who hasn't, right? And it'll basically allow you to see the Wi-Fi spectrum in your area and what routers around you and what access points are using what channels. So maybe if you're getting really bad Wi-Fi signal, you can see that, oh, well, all my neighbors are using the same Wi-Fi channel, and then you can go into your Wi-Fi settings and maybe change it to one that is a lot less crowded, and then that should help. And also when looking at the graph, you'll even be able to tell which Wi-Fi access points are interfering the most with the strongest signal and which are the weakest, so it makes it a lot easier to see, okay, well, all the weak ones are on this channel, I may as well switch to that. And also I think it has a feature where it'll automatically tell you the best quality channel to switch to, although I don't know if that's always reliable, so you can always just look at the graph and be able to tell yourself. All right, next up, number 4. This is what I think is one of the best photo editing apps, and it's actually made by Google themselves, and it is called Snapseed. And this has so many really cool effects, and it's very powerful for just being on a phone. It's got things like this ambient feature, which is hard to describe, but it's more than just a brightness increasing feature. It makes things look really cool. Of course, you have the classics like highlights and shadows, sharpness. There's even some built-in features for filters automatically, but really it's just super powerful, worth playing around with. Even if you don't want to edit something a ton, it's still more powerful than what you would get regularly with just Instagram. All right, number 5. This one is also made by Google, and I think some phones actually do come with this pre-installed, but you might not be using it, and it is Google Keep. And this is my personal favorite note-taking app because not only can you take notes on here, but it syncs with your Google account so you can access the same notes through your web browser or any other devices. So if you want to type up the note on your web browser with a keyboard where it's way easier, then you can access the same thing on your phone. So you can make things like checkable lists for like shopping lists. You can even draw things and take quick notes that way if you want. You can upload your own images from the gallery. You can just type out regular text notes. So this is a really useful app. I use it all the time, especially when I know that if I don't write something down, I completely forget it. So this is super useful and good for reminding myself of literally everything. All right, coming near the end, we got a couple more. This next one is Authy. You've heard me talk about this one before. If you're not using a two-factor authentication code generator app yet, this is one to get for sure. Now, if you don't know two-factor authentication, I'll go over it quickly for those of you who don't know. Basically, it is an app that generates a second code where certain accounts online, like Google allows this, your bank probably, where in addition to typing in your password, you have to type in a code from this app. So even if someone steals your password, then they can't get in your account. There are a lot of websites that allow this second code to be generated through a text message, which isn't always as secure, and really a generator app is more convenient as well, because even if you don't have cell service, you can still get the code. And what I like about Authy, and which you can't really get with other code generator apps, is that the codes are backed up, but they're also encrypted. So if you have multiple phones, you can add another device and then they'll be added onto that phone. So if you lose one, you're not completely screwed. But if someone does steal your phone and like use your phone number, even if they download the list, then they can't access it because it's encrypted. But there is a setting in there that will only allow new devices to be added if you allow it from a previous phone, so hopefully that doesn't happen at all anyway. So definitely a useful app if you're not using two-factor authentication, get it now. And finally, number 7, this is one that I think is super useful and it's called volume notification. Now, I don't know about you, but a lot of times when I want to change the volume of either the ringer or the media playing or even the system volume, a lot of times when you use the volume control button, it doesn't change the one you want. So with this app, it creates a notification in the bar when you swipe down that's always there that allows you to instantly switch the specific volume of the thing that you want at any time. So you can click the media button and it'll bring up the thing for the media volume controls or the system volume or the ringer volume. And that way you don't have to kind of guess and play the lottery of which notification is going to come up when you press the volume control bar. So it's just a lot easier. If you know you want to control just the media, you go right to it specifically, and you can choose which ones you want to appear in this notification bar. So if you also get annoyed by the volume controls, definitely one to get. So yeah, 7 really cool Android apps. If I missed any, definitely let us know in the comments, and be sure to check down there as well in case someone did mention a really cool one that I did not. If you want, obviously you can check out some of my other previous Android app videos. You can just click on those. But until next time, guys, be seeing you.